Welcome, everyone, to a special new type of option menu crew content. We're trying a new thing here, just kind of doing a reacts. I hope to come up with a much more clever branded title in the future, and I'll probably fix it. But for now, we've gotten together to react to the Nintendo Direct, the first full-length Direct in a long time, on today of February 17th. And with you today is me, your typical host, one of your typical hosts, Ryan, and our other hosts today are Mike and Ed.
Hello?
Did we lose you, Ed?
No, I did I not?
It didn't come through on the recording, so that's fine. We're doing it live. Just wanted to make sure you were still there. But yeah, so we're gonna do this. It's gonna be pretty quick today. We've already all watched the direct, and you can find the official full stream of it on YouTube if you'd like. And we're gonna toss to Ed, and he's gonna read off the list of announcements just for everyone's reference.
Right, so I've got a list here from IGN that has everything that was announced during the direct. I'm just going to go down it quickly, starting with the biggest announcement, or at least the first one, where Pyra and Mithra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 are joining Super Smash. They're going to be new characters in March 2021 of this year. Uh, Next is no new news on Breath of the Wild 2, but Skyward Sword HD and a special pair of Joy-Cons will be launching on July 16th of this year. Splatoon 3 is coming in 2022. And we have a new Mario Golf game called Mario Golf Super Rush. It is going to release on June 25th. Square Enix announced a new strategy game in the style of Octopath Travel. The code name Project Triangle Strategy. I believe this is a working title. There's a new Star Wars game called Star Wars Hunters. It's an online multiplayer game by Zynga. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout is arriving this summer on Switch. A new expansion pass for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity was announced. No date on that yet. The Ninja Gaiden Master Collection is announced, and that will be released on June 10th. This month, February 25th, Super Mario items will be added to Animal Crossing New Horizons. So that's probably the soonest thing that's coming out of this direct. In May, the 3DS title Miitopia will be coming on to Switch. That's May 21st. Outer Wilds, very well-regarded indie game, is coming in this summer. Two Famicom detective games are coming also sometime in 2021. I thought it was the summer, but it looks like they don't have a release window yet. Samurai Warriors 5 is coming in summer of 2021. The Legend of Mana remaster is coming, and that doesn't yet have a release date. Monster Hunter Rise is coming on March 26th. There's been a lot of news about this recently. It looks like it's going to be very popular. Tales from the Borderlands is coming March 24th. Capcom Arcade Stadium, a collection of a bunch of old, well-regarded Capcom games, is coming later today. So probably by the time you hear this, you'll be able to download and play it. Stubbs the Zombie in Rebel Without a Pulse is coming for Switch on March 16th. That's also coming for PS4 and Xbox and PC, but coming to Switch as well. No More Heroes is coming to Switch on August 27th, 2021. That was previously announced, but now we have a release date. Neon White, a first-person card battler, is coming to Nintendo Switch sometime. It doesn't have a date yet. DC Superhero Girls Teen Power is coming on June 4th, 2021 to Switch. Plants vs. Zombies, Battle for the Neighborhood, Complete Edition is coming March 19th on the Switch. Knockout City is a dodgeball multiplayer game is coming. This is actually from the studio that made Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. World's End Club, a new game from the creators of Danganronpa and Zero Escape, is coming in 2021. Bravely Default 2 is coming out February 26th. It's next week. Saga Frontier is coming April 15th. The Saga Frontier Remaster. It's a remastered version of that game. Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection is coming February 25th, next week as well. Apex Legends is coming to Switch March 9th. And finally, the Hades Physical Edition was announced and becoming March 19th. It was released last summer, but it's going to include a PC download code for their soundtrack and a full color character art book. That's exciting. If you are you really like Hades, I'm sure you'd want it physically. But after going through all the announcements, each of us will have our own impressions. So I'm gonna toss it to Mike. We're just gonna go in and give our general idea of how we felt about the Direct as a whole. So what did you think, Mike?
I thought overall, I thought it was a pretty good Direct. Like we've been waiting a really long time for like a general Direct that has like a lot of information for upcoming Nintendo games, and I thought that this was like one of the better ones that we've seen in a long time. In particular, like I think it was cool to see new characters coming to Smash. That was pretty sweet. I thought that adding the Super Mario items to Animal Crossing was cool, and will probably get me playing that game again. Mario Golf Super Rush, I thought that was another cool announcement that I thought they were going to do that last year, but maybe because of the pandemic, it was delayed. So I'll probably be getting that. I think it'll be a good multiplayer game. And Splatoon 3 looks interesting. I kind of fell off in Splatoon 2, but Splatoon 3 looks interesting. So overall, yeah, I thought it was a well done Direct. Yeah, those were my thoughts.
Okay, cool. I'll go next and then I'll toss it back to you, Ed. So, yeah, I thought the Direct was pretty good. I think it's really funny how people are being so getting so worked up about it being quote unquote so long since the previous Direct. And I get that it hasn't been like a full Direct. There was a bunch of Direct minis last year, but I think that's great. Like, there's really not much of a difference between this is a 50-minute presentation versus, the several like 10 to 20-minute presentations throughout the year. I don't really mind either format, so I just find it funny and kind of obnoxious that people were so worked up about it. But it is nice to get all the announcements, or it's nice with the announcements here. There wasn't too much I cared about, but there was a few things that made it all worthwhile for me as usual, and I think it's pretty well rounded. But it keeps feeling more and more like these directs are really aimed at people who only own Nintendo Switch, which I think is just a strange thing there. But I guess that's just how it is when there's not too many exclusive games for it. And while it's not really clear how many of these other games are exclusive versus will eventually come to other platforms or are coming day and date to those platforms, that's how it feels to me, because the first thing I'm going to do is check for some of these third-party titles as whether or not they're going to be available on other platforms. But I guess that's just me, and for people who do have just a Switch, that's super exciting. So overall, like, I guess I'll give it a number. I'd say it's probably like a 7 out of 10 for the most part. Some bangers definitely for some people, but otherwise, for me personally, it was okay. Just a couple of things I was excited about. So Ed, what were your general thoughts on the Direct?
So I'm kind of with you on it was a good direct. For anyone who is actually counting, the last general direct was September 4th, 2019, and that would make 532 days
Oh
since the
God.
last one.
Yeah, I heard
And
about that number.
you know there are
Was it the Mario one?
No, that was the one like the last one that was a general direct. That was not last year. That was the
Oh,
previous year,
2019. Sorry.
2019. So yeah, and Ryan, you're right that it is a silly distinction, but it really does feel different to me. I mean, a, a general Nintendo Direct just feels like a bigger event than a Direct Mini or one specifically about Mario or
Yeah, I always like the bigger ones more because it's so like there's so many different like surprises. Like it's not just you're not just expecting stuff from one franchise, but I guess the title direct is like I don't know.
I get what you're
it's
saying.
it's
Like I
got
said,
a
it's just
different feel.
yeah. I just think people are a little too worked up about how as if Nintendo didn't give us any information throughout 2020 when it was like they kind of just would announce. Although I do understand like them not really saying more than like 24 hours ahead of time or even 48 was like, oh, the announcement's coming here. But people get worked up and stuff like that for different reasons. And I think a lot of it might be the cabin fever that people have been experiencing thanks to COVID and whatnot. So I'm just kind of making fun of it, but I'm not actually like mean spirited about about it. It's just funny how people were bringing up that 500 days, and I'm like, really? People looked up how many days it was? Come on, guys. It's not like we haven't gotten any information. I just thought it was funny.
Well, it's not the same. I know you think it's funny, but it's not the same. I really don't think it's the same.
No
But
problem. Yeah, sure.
I don't even know if I would give it a 7. I mean, there were a few things that I was pretty excited about, but a lot of it to me was not. There was a lot. I mean, I maybe a 6 or a 7 if I had to put a number on it. But I mean, do you want to go into the games that we are particularly excited about? I know Mike already went over his specific interested games, but you didn't, Ryan. So I'll say I really did. It did get me excited for Mario Golf.
Mhm.
Speed The speed golf mode looks really fun, but I'm particularly psyched that it has a story mode because my favorite Mario Golf game, or probably any Mario sports game, were the Game Boy Mario Golf games, and those always had a story mode where you made your own character and you were able to build them up and build up their skills, and I really enjoyed that. So that means for me that this golf game is actually something I will play a good amount of. Um, Other than that, I mean, Miitopia looks cool, but I mean, I didn't get it on the 3DS, so I could have
Mhm.
played it back then.
Mhm.
So I probably won't get it on Switch for even more money, because as with all the ports, they they ported either from 3DS or Wii U, and then they charge full price or even more than it originally cost. So it looks fun. I mean, I liked I liked it all at a lot of the little me games they had on 3DS. The only other thing that really caught my eye was that Project Triangle Strategy. Uh, it's like Octopath Traveler. That Square Enix is calling their HD 2D engine, which I think looks great. And I do think what they showed there in terms of all the things you can do in a turn-based strategy game looks cool. They showed all these parts where you were, mixing spells and burning down buildings, and you were taking like I think they had a little shot where they took like a zip line or something across the environment. Looks like there's a lot of creative things that they're doing with turn-based strategy. So I'm very interested to see what actually comes of that. But that's not until 2022. So
There is a demo though. They're putting out a demo. I don't know if that's like today or soon or when they
I
announced
think
it,
it
but
is today. Maybe I'll download it
yeah,
today or tomorrow and give it a shot.
be curious to
I
know
mean,
what
I'm
your
I'm
thoughts
not
are.
I'm not usually one to play demos. But especially this early because it's going to be really rough. But maybe that's my opportunity to try it and give them some feedback.
Yeah, they did say
And
there's going to be a survey.
yeah, there's going to be a survey.
They did that
Yeah.
with Bravely Default 2 way back, and they also did it with Octopath Traveler, I believe, that they did the survey. So yeah, if you really care about it, that's the best way to try and make sure that the game comes out and it's worth your money.
Yeah, I should give that a shot.
That'd be nice if more games did that, but I get that not every game is in that way, or I think these types of games are meant to be smaller, so it is a lot easier for them to kind of pivot, and especially with it being kind of like lower budget, they want to kind of nail that feel, so they're really trying to hedge their bets where they can put out that smaller demo. It's really interesting. I like it. It'd be nice to see more of it for certain games. Yeah,
You said that there wasn't that much for you there. I know, like, was there anything that really caught your eye, Ryan?
yeah, I have a bunch of thoughts, but in terms of what like really excited me, um, I'm happy with the Pyrrha and Mithra announcement for Smash Bros. Ultimate. I haven't played those Xenoblade Chronicles 2, let alone 1. I did play Xenoblade Chronicles X back on the Wii U, and I played it up to just short of the final mission difficulty spike, uh, and boss fights that multiple end boss fights that with no checkpoints kind of killed my enthusiasm for it. So I just YouTubed the ending. But the character itself, I've just stopped kind of making expectations for the listings, and I can just enjoy the announcement. So it's really cool. It looks like they're going to be like Zelda Chic style for their ability switching between the two characters. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And since they're hopefully only like maybe 2 to 3 weeks away from release, that'd be really exciting to get some information. Also, on terms of like games, Skyward Sword HD, I played it back on the Wii and beat it. Well, actually, I played it on emulator. I bought an official copy, and then it turned out it ran really well on the emulator at the time, so I was able to finish it there. And I used the Wii Motion Plus and stuff, so I got the authentic experience. And I think that game is just so held back by its motion controls. So, Ed, you'll remember me texting back and forth, and I was just reacting live as like, oh, they're finally gonna fix it, and you're like, no, they're not. And then it was the motion controls, and I'm like, no. And then it was like, and then I completely forgot that
I'm shocked that they actually compromised on their original vision and said, "All right, we'll let you can control it with the analog stick." I almost, and I guess they have to give you a way to play it on the Switch Lite, or else that's a big
yes,
segment of their market where they won't be able to play it.
Switch Lite and Switch handheld mode, like you
Yeah,
have to do that. So I always knew it could be done. So yeah, my reaction was immediately from like no to yay because they um, immediately said after the motion controls in their little demo that they mapped it to button only mode. So I'm looking forward to buying that and playing through it again with the button only mode. I feel like that's going to be. I really want to see if that compares well to my old experience or how I feel about it and whether or not there's still that magic there. And hopefully they also fix the save bug. Not that it's super easy to get, but there's the bug where if you do a certain thing out of order in the late in the game, where you can hard lock your progression, and Nintendo did that old thing where you could send in your save, or basically they just told you don't do this.
they have a lot of Nintendo seems to have that problem a lot. I think there was a bug in Paper Mario Origami King that was like that. You said there's Skyward Sword. I know Metroid Other M had a bug like
Yeah,
that. Like you think they would learn from those mistakes, but maybe it is that hard to catch everything.
I wonder if but it seems like it's such a consistent issue where it's like you do this thing out of order and it doesn't trip the right flags
Yeah.
or it becomes a bug that like I wonder if it's an engine thing, if it's like a save file thing, or if it's literally just it's the same bug, but it's a complete coincidence that it's been in these games because it's just certain things not getting catched. Really curious. I would love someone to be able to do a deep dive and explain whether or not there's a reason other than coincidence for that. But yes, those Joy Cons we were talking about, and we both had the exact same reaction. They look sexy, and the Master Sword and Hylian Shield are like some of my most favorite video game items, I guess, let alone weaponry. But the shield's not a weapon, so I'm totally gonna buy those. They're not up for pre-order yet, but as soon as I can pre-order those, I'm getting them, and I'm probably gonna slot them in the like the grip that comes with the Switch, so you can use the Joy Cons kind of like a Pro controller setup. I'm gonna slot them in there, and they're gonna be my permanent Joy Cons in that thing there because they're just so cool. I do like Splatoon 2, and I would like to play more of it. And I was playing a bit with another buddy of mine. I didn't like the lobby system where it's like if you paired up with a friend, you were just thrown into the same lobby, but you weren't guaranteed to be on the same team. So that was kind of annoying, but at least had some fun to play. And I was surprised that Splatoon 3, despite the fact that in spite of the fact that there were so many other games that have been announced that we haven't gotten more information on, that was something they were kind of ready to show. I feel like that was just kind of thrown in there at the end just to kind of flesh out that. Um, and then a lot of stuff that I kind of expected. Pleasant surprise, the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection. I really wonder if that's going to come to other platforms. I like games like that, but when I tried Ninja Gaiden both 1 and 2, it was just a little too hard for my taste. But I'd always be interested to revisit those. On the thought,
About that,
Mhm.
I was gonna say, how about that dodgeball game?
Yes, I was gonna get to that, but yeah, the dodgeball game. Funny enough, I think that concept's great. I think video game really needs to use like the dodgeball concept because there's that good back and forth of like picking up the ball, and if you time it right and catch it, like you could do a counter system to opponents there. I think the art style isn't quite striking enough, and I know that some people say they're just super tired of the Overwatch style, but I really do think it pops and has a certain identity. So when they first showed the trailer and they have like the soldier guy that like totally ripped straight from World of Warcraft orc, and then that 2D character. I thought those were going to be the characters, and then later they showed like the Final Fantasy woman in armor. I was like, if those were the character models and that like, the variant art style, that would have looked so much better than what those characters actually were
It's
inside the
EA,
game.
right?
It's
Isn't
EA,
it
yeah.
EA? Yeah,
So it's going to be on other platforms, probably.
yeah.
I mean, like Ninjala that we messed around with hasn't come to other platforms, at least not that I know of. But I'd hope.
That's what it reminds me of, the Ninjala and the
Yeah,
Splatoon kind of look.
yeah.
There.
And I always thought like each platform's always looking for like their Smash clone, and Sony obviously failed really hard with theirs. But I thought with Microsoft they should just do a different genre because they have such a weird mishmash of characters that I used to speculate that they should just do like a dodgeball game so that way you could have Master Chief and Banjo, and now you got like Steve and the Gears of War guys, and it'd be great if they were just all playing
Joanna
dodgeball.
Dark.
Joanna Dark, all those rare properties, Viva Pinatas, and these characters are just playing dodgeball because then that would be family friendly. Plus, you could mix in all these recognizable IP. I thought it's such a good idea. So to see a modern dodgeball game being done by a third party here, and EA has some memorable properties, so they could definitely mix in stuff, and there's customization. So they'll probably do their own homages there. I don't know how well it'll do, but I'd be interested to try that game out, regardless what
Yeah,
platform
it
it comes on.
depends how it's executed. Like I hated, what I hated about what's the popular game that all the kids are playing?
Fortnite?
Fortnite.
Fortnite. Yeah, like you died and then you had to wait like 10 minutes to get back into the game.
Yeah.
Well, I'm exaggerating, but like
Sure, yeah.
You don't like the battle royale format.
yeah, like why do I have to wait like a half an hour to join the game again? Like why can't I just keep on coming back in and hitting people? I mean, I get why, but
Yeah.
Don't die. Just don't die, Mike.
Well, I
Get
think
good.
doesn't it work
yeah,
like doesn't it work like Fall Guys where you could either choose to spectate the rest of the match or you can just opt out and re-queue immediately?
yeah, but then you still have to go through the whole like dropping off the ship and like loading through all that stuff. You can't just like pop out in the same match and like it's not like a counter, like you don't count how many kills you have, like
Yeah, that's so yeah,
that's
some of
not
that is
my
inherent.
style, but
Yeah, some of that is inherent to the battle royale
not the
format.
style.
But yeah, that seemed really cool there. And then the other thing that was catching my eye, oh yeah, Miitopia. I just wanted to quickly say, like, I'm not interested personally in Miitopia, but I'm honestly really surprised Nintendo doesn't do more IP utilizing the Miis. It just seems like such an easy thing for them to like do, like either a new Mii Sports. Like, think about that. If they brought back and did Mii Sports collection or something like that, or other types of genres with Mii characters in them, like even putting in like a Mario Mii for like Super Mario 3D World, where you can put your Mii character and they can wear one of the costumes from there or something, that kind of stuff. So it just made me think about that. And then lastly, No More Heroes. So that's cool that got a date. I know that 1 and 2 are now on Switch as well, and those games were up my alley, but I really didn't want to play them on the Wii with the motion controls. For some reason, it just didn't seem like it would really. I thought the motion controls would ruin it for me, but now that they're on Switch and the third one looks really cool, and it really is just kind of my style of game, I think I will commit to buying, playing, and beating those games on Switch
You
in
haven't.
preparation
You
for
didn't
3.
play the first 2 on Wii.
No, I did not, because I thought
You'll have to tell me how those are because I definitely saw from what I saw of the third one, it looks very interesting. So
I don't know if they have physical releases because I was just going to do my typical plug, unofficial plug, by the way. We are not sponsored, but maybe someday we'll get some sweet, sweet money from them, or at least like free membership from GameFly, and you can just try them out there. Bravely Default, I think I might try and rent it again because I really did like Bravely Default 1 up until Chapter 5, which, if anyone knows anything about Bravely Default 1, you know what I mean when I say Chapter 5. But yeah, that was about it
is that
there.
where you had to fight all the bosses again a million times?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never played Bravely Default, but I definitely heard about that problem.
But it's not even that you have to fight them a bunch more times. It's that the difficulty spike is so huge. Like I immediately went from the boss fight that I had that transitions you into Chapter 5 to fighting. I think I was even doing like a basic battle, and I just got stomped. And I wasn't like low leveled or anything. I was moving through at a decent clip, and I just got stomped. And I'm like, nope, this is going to require so much extra grinding, and I'm not in this. And then when I Googled the final fight just to see like how ridiculous is this final fight, it's ridiculous. Like it's one of those multi-stage boss fights with no checkpoints in between. So I was like, nope.
Oh,
I'm-
that's rough.
It's like super old school Final Fantasy. And as for progressive a game that was in terms of fixing those quality of life issues where you could turn off random battles or increase it so it was quicker grinding and all the other features in there, it's just they just kind of dropped the ball at the end there, and I don't know if they were just indulging themselves or they felt they were obligated to do it. I don't know, but I'll give it another try. They did some feedback there. Hopefully, the difficulty curve from the demo was also fixed, and maybe there's even like an easy mode, and then I can enjoy just the story with a acceptable amount of challenge. I don't know, but those were my thoughts on the announcements there in terms of what was there. So, Mike, was there anything else you wanted to bring up from your announcements? I know you did like a little list earlier, but was there anything new you wanted to bring up?
I also wanted to say, like, I thought those Legend of Zelda controllers looked really cool as well. Like, I think I could see myself having both of those on my Switch. Like,
The only thing I worry about with custom Joy-Cons is like they're gonna drift eventually. And
Maybe.
well,
Maybe this will be the first generation that isn't because it's the special. Like, just for an example of like sometimes Nintendo sneaks in little hardware revisions, is that when I got Skyward Sword, I bought the special edition with the built-in Wii Motion Plus custom gold Wiimote, and that one has like a different serial number / revision than the Wiimote Pluses that came out with the Wii U branding. And I know that because
really,
when I was trying to run them on emulation through Bluetooth, the special edition one worked just fine, synced up, no issues. But the Wii U ones, despite being newer and should have had better firmware, like weren't being recognized properly, and I could never get them to work without doing extra stuff. So yeah, it's possible that maybe these ones will have some better parts. I mean, they're really custom shells with those custom colors and the stamping on them, the decals. So maybe.
the working Joy-Cons are going to be limited edition. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can only get working Joy-Cons on a limited basis.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. And we were talking about it because when this will go up a little bit ahead of our New Year's or our 2020 year in review of games and whatnot. And we did our gaming resolutions, and mine was buy fewer controllers. So we discussed it, Ed, and the ruling was from Ed that a pair of Joy-Cons counts as one controller. So that won't be.
You have to buy. You're a huge Zelda fan. I mean, like I would almost be worried if you were that strict that you didn't buy them.
Yeah, and I mean, I would buy them anyways. I just need to know what my count is at. So if we compare it next year, I need to have an accurate count there. Now, I have the Animal Crossing Joy-Cons that I mentioned, but those I didn't buy. That was a trade. So that's a loophole. If I trade for Joy-Cons, it's not the same thing. But
So
yeah,
all you have to do is find somebody that accidentally bought them. I
yeah,
don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think they're going to even be
You
made in
need
those
a
quantities.
GameFly for controllers where you can just try it.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great if I could do like rental of hardware and stuff. Oh man, it'd be dumb. I can't do that. That'd be bad. Uh, but yeah, they're great and they're kind of like two shades of blue slash like indigo slash navy or whatever. I'll have to see them in light. But the only thing that would have been better is because I'm a huge fan of green and I like forest green, which I've usually relied on Zelda for giving me that fix in terms of certain things. So, but I love the Master Sword and the Hylian Shield, so it's not
Yeah,
a big deal.
they're
It's kind
so
of
classic.
yeah, it's fine with that. So, um, yeah, that's cool
Well,
there.
maybe that means when Prime 4 eventually comes out in 2023 that you know, there might be limited edition Joy-Cons that I can get then.
Yeah, so actually, let's use that to segue then to our last section here is what disappointed you? You know, Ed, we'll start with you. What wasn't in this announcement that you were hoping for?
Well, pretty much every time we have a Nintendo Direct and there's no Metroid announcements, I'm disappointed. But
Yep.
I wasn't actually disappointed because I kind of, set my expectations to where that wasn't part of them. But I, I think you kind of think, Ryan, that Prime 4 and Breath of the Wild 2 may be a release around the time we get a Switch Pro, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking at this point, especially based on the news and whatnot, is that with the meta information that came out from Doug Bowser's statement in the interview, plus news that there's a huge chip shortage going on worldwide for all electronics, that I think Nintendo's pushing back its plans for Switch Pro. They were planning on doing it sooner. I think now they've gotten a chance to look at the Xbox Series and the PlayStation 5 and kind of see where that's going, talk to developers about what they need for their hardware, and then also just don't have the materials to sell that. And plus, with Animal Crossing and the Switch itself just selling out like hotcakes, still without too much new in its hardware being at this current level, I think what's happened is they were planning on having Breath of the Wild 2, Metroid Prime 4, despite Metroid Prime 4 having its own development issues, and Bayonetta 3, which are Breath of the Wild and Bayonetta 3 are probably games that have been cooking long enough that they're probably pretty far along and ready to be released, but they're not. Nintendo probably said, "Hey, we're going to launch new hardware, so why not just have some flagship titles set aside for this? They get some more development time. It's going to be a much stronger launch. Plus, there's no doubt that new system, or at least I'm very confident the new system is going to be backwards compatible because it just would make so little sense to not do a second generation Switch." So yeah, I think a lot of those bigger titles that we've heard about that haven't been there for a while are just getting pushed back to be launch titles for the next Switch, an upgraded Switch.
Yeah, well, I hope the launch isn't as bad as the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X because I would like to be able to get one in a reasonable time period, but
We'll see.
You know it's gonna be bad. They're all bad.
Yeah, especially because a lot of people. But then again, if it's really positioned like a Pro, like the PlayStation 4 Pro or like the Xbox One X, I think there's a good chance that people will still scalp. So scalpers are still going to be a pain in the butt. But if the hardware shortages clear up, or if Nintendo stockpiles a bunch of them or something like that, and we get like a good amount, like I'm gonna try and pre-order it. I don't care, as long as it's not like, hey, it's just a higher resolution screen, or it's like one thing's better. I will definitely try to get the whatever the second gen Switch is right away. So I'll queue up for whatever pre-order I need to. But yeah, it's still better brace ourselves in case there's
it is
low
kind of a
availability.
tangent. But the main point is I was a little disappointed to hear nothing about Metroid. It's been
Yeah.
really rumored that there's going to be like a new 2D Metroid game, whether that's a remake of Super Metroid or Fusion, or whether it's a Metroid 5, like a sequel to Fusion. But um,
They
the
only
thing
do
with
Metroid announcements every 5 years.
yeah, no, and every other time it's something like Federation Force or Other M. But no, I mean
Pinball.
the thing with rumors though is like anybody with a Twitter account can make up a rumor, and then people will start retweeting it, and it it's hard not to like listen to them and like have that that hope part of your brain be activated. But I've almost it's only going to be a pleasant surprise if it happens. I don't really expect it anymore.
Metroid Prime: A New Hope.
That'd be nice. Yeah, that's the thing. I've kind of vetted the rumor mill. I try to avoid it unless someone I know is like would be either vetting it or it comes from someone I trust that I would start believing it. Otherwise, yeah, I just kind of take what we can get because it's uncertain times, but also I just hate getting excited for things that are too far out because then I get obsessed with that instead of focusing on what I could be playing right now, which is part of the reason why I'm not as thrilled about things getting announced too far out as well because it just kind of it throws off my focus. It's happened so many times and I don't like not appreciating the things I could be playing much sooner than waiting for the stuff that's coming out way later. But Mike, what was there anything you were hoping was going to be here that wasn't, or any other last thoughts on the direct?
Kind of like a pie in the sky thing was like a new like Super Mario Kart or something like that. Like I was hoping like for some like I guess Splatoon 3 was that big reveal, but I was hoping for new Mario Kart. Really.
But doesn't Splatoon 3 like give you hope that there could be a new Mario Kart? Because they're not waiting until like the next system to do a sequel to Splatoon 2.
I honestly never thought they were going to because 8 is from the Wii U, but I know you guys think that the Wii U doesn't count.
Well, I never thought
The
they would
world
make
thinks the Wii U doesn't count.
a sequel to Splatoon 2 when it was already on the Switch. They're making two
Yeah.
Splatoon games on the Switch. That means you could get 2 Mario Kart games. So I
Yeah,
might be eating my words there.
be
Nope.
like a double dash kind of thing.
Yeah, and Home Circuit's kind of like another Mario Kart on the Switch because it's companion software. It's not as big, but still, it's kind of something, you know.
This isn't like E3 or anything like that. So, I mean, they're going to save all their big announcements for that. So, there's still hope for a lot of things, especially like N64 or GBA emulator, stuff like that. And I mean, I thought overall it was a good direct. I didn't think it was bad. Like, even though I'm not going to probably pick up half these games, I still thought there was had a lot to offer.
Yeah,
And
go on.
and the Smash characters, like they look cool to play. Like I haven't played the Xenoblade games, but I think they're going to be some pretty cool characters or have some unique moves that none of the other characters have had before. At least it looks like it from the trailer.
Another
They
anime sword
They
fighter.
don't look too weird. They don't look too weird. Like, I think that it's really cool that we get stuff like Minecraft Steve, but it's those are a little too complex for what I want out of a Smash game.
They're not like too generic. Like they're seem like they had some other moves.
Oh, they look
They
like
weren't
they.
just
Yeah, I agree with you. They look like they have plenty of new
Yeah,
stuff.
they look good.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We'll probably maybe we can do like a group watch of whenever that presentation drops, and then of course we'll get together and play some Smash probably before that, but also when that character comes out. So
I was
look for
surprised
that.
that Rex wasn't announced.
Oh, I laughed so hard when I realized it wasn't Rex because like everyone thought it would be Rex, and then it's Pyra and Mithra or Mithra or yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that, but yeah, I was just like yes, there you go. Let the girls have their time to shine there, and I think that's great. I'm surprised. Now, I haven't played,
Yeah.
but because I heard so much good about the story for Xeno 2, that there is a third form, and I was surprised that the third form isn't like the final Smash or something like that. But maybe in the presentation there'll be some sort of
Doesn't Rex help out with the final Smash, or didn't they show him doing something?
yeah. There's each girl gets a different final Smash and Rex cameos in that, and it looks like Rex cameos in their taunts. So there's one taunt
Okay.
where he just like randomly appears and then disappears. So I think
He's still
he's there.
there.
Yeah, he's still there. Like, but people, there's some people are going to be disappointed he's not playable. But it would have been like the same move set. It would have been the same thing except one dude. But whatever. I think it's cool that the girls are getting highlighted over the main dude. And he's got his Mii costume, so people can deal with it.
It was a fun reveal. The whole
was.
skit they did to reveal was quite amusing.
I thought it was gonna be DLC, and I'm like, no, is this a Smash thing? Like, it could be a Smash thing, but you know what?
I thought it was gonna be like Xenoblade 2 DLC, but they already did one of those.
But they might
So
do more because it's been super
they could,
popular,
yeah.
and apparently it did well enough to warrant that DLC. So I wouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah.
Although I am hoping that they'll do like a real-time combat Xenoblade at some point, so I can actually like get into the series and enjoy
Or
it.
turn-based. No, I know you don't like turn-based.
Well, it's still semi-turn based because it's got like the
Yeah.
cooldowns and stuff. Yeah, we've talked about that. But yeah, I guess to cap it off for disappointment, like sure I would have loved to have some Switch Pro announcement. I would have loved for it to be about face like Bowser's just like no, that's not it, and everyone would have been like, yeah, we called it. But yeah, I think that stuff will be safe for E3. But realistically, I would have liked to hear about Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD also coming out on Switch because I think I will rebuy those for Switch for sure and have those. But Skyward Sword's going to be nice later this year to replay, and we'll see. Hopefully, there's not too much around there, so I have time to play it.
Yeah, I never tried that one before. Maybe I'll have to try it.
I think now that you can play with just buttons, it's
Yeah.
a lot better in that regard. I think it's underrated. I definitely agree with the criticism that like the intro tutorial section is too long, and that there's parts to that game that aren't fleshed out in the way I would have liked that we would have liked them to as a general audience. But I still think there's a lot to like in that game. I like that you revisit the areas and that the dungeons get like remixed as you go through that to become like different types of things. I think that's great. And like the dungeons, the areas are like giant dungeons, and it's not only like the giant area, but then there's the actual dungeon portion, and then the whole thing is, yeah. I think there's still a lot to like, and people get a little hung up on
They were
the rough
even
spots.
saying how it leads into Breath of the Wild.
Oh, they were
There's some
talking about
mechanics.
mechanically. Like there's a
Yeah,
lot
that's
of
what I mean.
yeah. The story wise, it is the prequel of all prequels when it comes to Zelda, which is also
Yeah,
cool.
not this stuff. I just meant like it leads into like they started to get like ideas from.
Not always the best ideas. Like the stamina meter is a curse. The stamina meter is bad. The upgrade stuff not too.
The glider was cool.
Yeah, like the little parasol thing. It was useful in some regards, which is fine. Um, I think the collecting for upgrades. I thought that was weird for Skyward Sword, but it was fine. You can manage it. I mean, the whole point is just eventually getting to the point where your shield doesn't break and you get the Hylian shield that doesn't break, and that's that's what you're always building towards. But yeah, that was
So is this it for Zelda 35th anniversary? I mean,
no.
isn't the anniversary of the game like next week? Didn't it come out in February, and what is it, like 1986 or whatever? Like,
Well, they gave us a 24-hour notice, or was a 48-hour notice for this direct. So maybe next week, same thing, 24 hours before they're gonna like special Zelda direct.
I
So
think there'll be a Pokemon Direct before that.
they didn't talk about new Pokemon Snap, which is interesting. That's a game I thought would have been further along and ready for launch.
25th anniversary is bigger
February
than 35th.
21st, 1986 was when the original Legend of Zelda came out. So that's like next week. So if they're gonna talk about it on that anniversary, they better get cracking.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's something next week and they do like a mini direct. And they just wanted to get ahead because this is when they had the chance for the next big push with enough stuff lined up to do an announcement. So we'll see. We'll check in next week. I don't know if we'll do another one of these reacts, but for that, but it's something that we're trying out.
Only for the major directs.
Or like the
Who
Sony State of Plays or something.
So in
Who
another
else was?
500 days.
What other anniversaries? Pokemon's 25th, Zelda's 35th. Wasn't there somebody else?
Metroid is 35th.
Oh, Metroid's 35th.
When
Donkey
The
Kong is
25th is
40th.
bigger.
Donkey Kong
25th is
40th.
bigger.
it's those 5 and
Okay.
10 year marks, it's are always big deals. So we'll see.
Maybe we'll get a new Donkey Kong rap.
Ooh, that'd be nice. That's all they should do. They should just put out a new DK rap, and then you can just download that and play it and have it
Onto your
loop
Switch.
on your Switch. Yep.
I saw people predicting crazy things like they're gonna have like a Nintendo show on Netflix and the the app would be downloadable on your Switch because they were like partnering with Netflix or something.
Weren't they
Nintendo,
gonna have a Zelda show, but they canceled it?
because it got leaked. Nintendo's such cowards. They're like, oh my god, it got leaked. Pull everything. Like we were also gonna get a Star Fox stop motion show or a cartoon or something that was gonna be produced by Mega 64, who was helping Nintendo back when it was Reggie and Iwata and Miyamoto doing like the puppeteering and the robot chicken stop motion thing. Like they were doing
Oh,
so
that
much
would
cool
be
stuff.
so cool. I love
Yeah,
that style of
they were gonna do a
animation.
Star Fox thing, and that got canned too. And the Mega 64 guys were talking about like, yeah, like the Netflix thing got pulled and they canned everything else. So yeah, Nintendo's just a bunch of cowards.
It's a shame.
Yeah. Like who cares that
we
people
don't,
know?
we don't know the whole. We don't know everything that went on behind it.
We know everything.
It's
So
pretty
we
clear.
don't.
It's pretty clear that they were just upset. Like Japanese business can get pretty petty. So yeah,
Yeah.
this direct was nice to get a bunch of information out there. Of course, there's some big stuff still unanswered. E3 time is in the summer, so hopefully Nintendo has a big summer direct lined up there. 2021 is apparently the year we're going to see a lot of stuff moved around because of COVID's impact on last year's development cycles. But maybe people will adjust and hopefully things will get back to a little bit to normal. I still think it'd be nice if they learned how to work remotely because people deserve convenience for the jobs if it can be done remotely. At least to have the option. But yeah.
Didn't Square Enix, their whole company, go 100% remote?
Yeah, that's so cool, and I would not have expected that from Square Enix. But
So, if one
yeah.
Japanese company can do it, I don't see why other ones couldn't, but Nintendo is special.
They are very special. So yeah, I think that's about it for the direct here, guys. It was neat to try this out, and we'll discuss whether or not we want to do more React style quick casts in the future.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks
Yeah,
everyone.
thank you for listening.
Take care till the next time.